Greetings, greetings, peace and blessings. We are the Mohammeds, the residential tourists. We are 85 to Africa, living here in the after, and we are here in Kigali, Rwanda, reclaiming our identity. In fact, we have the West family of the Reclaiming Our Identity YouTube channel who will co-join with us. And we are very much excited and anticipating receiving them. And we want you to be able to join in, but please don't forget, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Stay tuned. Greetings, greetings, peace and blessings. We are the Mohammeds. We are with our beautiful brother and sister, Brother Keenan, Sister Janine. The West, right?
Yeah.
The West. The West is in the East.
Yeah.
In the house.
And their channel is Reclaiming Our Identity.
Reclaiming our identity. We are 85 to Africa. We are living in the after. So
Our husbands
Why
don't do
look
us
like
right.
that?
They don't do us right.
Oh,
Got us all on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't even-
Just
I'm
not
sorry,
right.
scratching my ear.
And so
We're gonna
we
have
are
to do
here
another
also
thumbnail.
reclaiming our identity, and we are here with the Mohammeds, the
Yeah.
residential tourists. You guys gotta
The
the
residential
residential
tourist.
tourists.
Oh, no, don't do it.
Check
Don't
them
do it.
out
We
as
in the
well
big
on
leagues now.
YouTube. Yes.
The honor, the honor.
No, it's our privilege and pleasure. We are grateful. We have been thinking about wanting to have this moment with you guys for quite some time. Brother and I, we always chop it up when we get a chance, and I'm like, man, I like this brother here, man. This brother's on. He shared some jewels with me. Of course, I shared it with my wife as well. It's been very helpful, and we like y'all, man.
We like
We like
y'all
y'all
too.
too, man. We like y'all.
like
We
y'all.
do, we do. From day one.
For sure,
Yes,
for
yes.
sure, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. So, 85 to Africa. You asked, what is 85 to Africa?
Yes.
All right, so check this out, right?
Okay.
So there's an artist named Jadena.
Okay.
He's a hip hop artist, but he's from I think Nigeria originally.
Mhm.
So he has this song called 85 to Africa.
Uh-huh.
85 South, Atlanta.
I was like that. I'm thinking they're probably talking about 85 South.
85 South.
South Fulton.
Yeah.
All right, all
So
right.
Which was the brother's face?
Southwest Atlanta.
You thought it
85
was something
South.
deep, huh?
And I thought
Well, what is a Nigerian that we're making a song about
He
85
moved to
South?
Atlanta.
Well, he was in. I guess I don't know if he lived there or he was. I really don't know what motivated him to actually do the song. I think maybe he lived there.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
There's another Afrobeats artist that lives in Atlanta, and there's a couple songs. I'll tell you about it later. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, 85 to Africa. He had this. So we heard that song. We was like, okay. So I'm like, okay, 80, yeah. We leave Atlanta to Africa, and in the song
Okay.
he says Rwanda. He says Rwanda in the song.
You know I'm going to listen to
Yeah,
it. when
yeah.
we-
Lyrics is, you might have some words in there, like,
Okay,
but we
thanks
just
for
like
the
the
warning.
beat, and
The
we just like,
explicit
yeah.
lyrics.
The beat is hot,
The beat is nice.
and, but there's no way we could put it on our channel because that's what we wanted for our intro.
Mhm.
We
Oh.
would get flagged. We would never make it down.
Yeah, then
Even if you give credit to him,
I don't know, probably
an
not.
acknowledgement.
No,
Probably
you
not.
have to get an actual permission.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know. Is he?
He probably would give it to you. Now I'm
see.
going to email
Well,
him. I'll be
Jadena,
like,
listen, if you're watching,
Can residential tourists use your song?
can we use that?
Yes, come on now.
We got the whole connection. 85 South of Atlanta to Rwanda. We here in Africa.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So we say living. I say living in the after, meaning we are living. It's new life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're new life. We've left,
Yeah.
and now we are
After
living
that,
after what we left. So just living in the after.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't nothing real deep.
I tried to come up with my own ideas, and I pretty much hit it on the head.
Well,
I just
good,
wanted
well,
to hear
good,
from you.
good.
But the brother was like, "You gonna say something deep?" 85 straight. What? She had the face like he
Highway
was in
85.
I'm sorry, brother,
South.
to support you. It was nothing deep at
I
all.
thought it was like, oh, they about to come out with something. Okay. No, just, I mean,
Yeah, we just Atlanta.
You know I love that.
For sure, for
ACL
sure.
all the way.
I'm sure. I'm telling you, I can't front. I miss Atlanta. I miss moments in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'll put it like that.
Mhm.
Put it like that. So yeah. So reclaiming our identity. Now I gotta say I like that name.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that because I mean it fits. Because you know it's like you know
You get to define who you are in your own terms.
exactly.
You know, I like that.
Exactly. I like how you put that. That's absolutely right.
It was,
So-
okay.
So how residential tourists?
Ah,
How did that come about?
so residential tourist. So in Atlanta, we lived like tourists. Like you know, living in
Little
Atlanta,
explorers.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I can tell.
it's always something new.
Great.
It's always something going on in Atlanta. Always so I'm working the job that I had. I'm driving and I'm, you know, and I'm like, man, I never been in this area. I'm like, oh, this is. So I'm excited. I'm like, I go get home. I tell the wife, I'm like, man, this is something. So we were like, okay, let's go check it out. You know, we'll go check it out. Constantly, always. Just exploring, looking for different things that was going on in Atlanta. And I was like, one
Coffee
day,
shop explorers. for
definitely
sure.
that. We
For
always
sure.
looking for the
We be
new.
Googling, what's the new coffee
What's the new
spot?
coffee
in such
spot?
and such area.
Oh my goodness. Yo.
Coffee shop.
Yeah. So I just said, you know what, man? I just came up and said, we like residential tourists. We live in Atlanta, but we just like tourists. We like, okay, let's be adventurous. Let's find out what's going on in Atlanta.
That's great.
And it was fun. It was really fun.
You'll be
It really was.
so surprised how many people, natives
Yeah.
of Atlanta, that never leave their county. Like, we would get texts and inboxes all the time just off of Facebook. We didn't have the channel yet, and be like, man, where do y'all be finding these places at? Or y'all always come on somewhere. And we would be going places with like $10 in our pockets.
And
true.
enjoying yourself
Enjoying it.
thoroughly.
Exactly.
Time.
Yes.
Looking for parks, looking for
Oh, yeah.
waterfalls. Remember that time we would, man, when we discovered, and it's not that we discovered it, but when we first went to Gatlinburg for one of our anniversaries,
Beautiful waterfalls.
man, we stopped along the way. We were seeing Indian reservations,
Right.
waterfalls, bamboo forests.
Right.
We were so geeked out about, and people were like,
excited.
Are you guys the kind of people you'll stop the car?
stop
you
it,
get out?
yes,
Yep.
That used to make me. I'm just, babe, can you stop?
love it.
I want to take a picture. I didn't walk through that tall
Right.
grass right
Wait,
there.
we got pictures of the Florida sign. I'm like,
Ah.
we done
Stop
really
at the
been
Florida
somewhere. Taking pictures of the hands like, Florida?
Oh, my
Really?
goodness. Did
Like-
you all ever go to Sweetwater Creek, the waterfall there?
Well,
Wait, no.
the parks.
Oh,
With the-
yes. Wait, in Atlanta?
Mhm.
Yeah, not the waterfall
no,
though.
yeah, you're thinking of Cascade one, but Sweetwater Creek.
No, we didn't even
There's
know.
a waterfall.
All right, we coming back
But
to
you gotta
Atlanta to
hike
visit.
for
We
it,
going
though.
to
You have to hike.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not very hard. Well, I used to go when I was a little girl. My parents took us quite a bit, and we could hike it. Not very far. And there's an old Indian fort back in the woods in there.
Really?
Yeah. So next time you go check
Hey,
it out.
why we didn't know y'all we was in
See, I know
Atlanta?
why.
Look, I'm sitting there saying, be quiet.
Are you missing?
Don't make him want to go back.
The thing is, we weren't there that long.
I mean, you were. I grew up there. I was born and
Right,
raised there.
yeah.
So when you came, we
were
probably
only
went a
there
couple
from-
times, like with friends on a Saturday afternoon. But you moved to Atlanta,
2001.
and then we left in 2000.
2006.
Well, I came 99, 2000. That's when I came.
Okay.
So, you know, we're Northerners. We just,
Mo Better Brown, Morris Brown, shout out.
Yes, those HBCUs and the ATL, Clark Atlanta, Spelman. Yes, Mo Better.
Indeed.
so one of the reasons why I was thinking, you know, let's see if we can get them to come on and collaborate. Because our audience, what they love about what we do is we just keep it raw,
Yes.
you know, and
And they do too,
right.
which is what I love.
Yeah,
Like,
we don't know
we
any
just
other
keep it
way.
raw. And the problem is, even for us, when we before we came and we were doing our research, YouTubers are very careful. They make sure they only talk about the positive things
Yes.
and the pretty fluffy things. And so you start to paint an illusion that that area or wherever that place is
Heaven.
Wakanda.
Right.
Yes.
We were looking for Wakanda at that time. The movie just hit, we were like, we gotta find Wakanda. So coming and then doing our own research and exploring different places was like after the honeymoon period wore off,
Yeah.
it was like
Okay.
almost like a
This
slap in
ain't
the face.
Wakanda. This ain't Wakanda.
How come nobody talked about this?
How come
Yes.
nobody talked about that? Was my question all the time.
No one told us it. Well,
Yeah, this isn't on the YouTube videos.
Mm-mm.
That's right.
Right.
It's not
Right.
on there.
Yeah.
And I do understand, especially when you're in foreign countries, you have to be very careful because a lot of places the government controls or
That's right.
really, and this is one of those places,
Yeah.
they really zoom in and focus on the content. It's a little different when you're an American YouTuber versus being a local YouTuber, but they do focus on your content. So a lot of us are very careful. We just happen to be those weird rebels that came from the States and we're like, oh, we're going to tell the truth until they shut us down.
Well,
Yeah.
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 Because no one told us.
Because people want to know the truth.
Well,
That's
I
why
don't
they're
know.
looking at the channel in the first
But
place.
you
You
know,
gotta know. You gotta make
Fully
an
informed.
informed decision,
that's right.
and you can't make it off of the beautiful part. Like the first, if you look at our videos, the first probably 6 months, all we knew was the beautiful stuff. So we're recording the sounds of birds,
Lucky
and
you.
flowers, and
That was not our first
Yes.
couple months experience.
but that's because y'all didn't know us.
Yeah.
And because of people that tell us these stories, we created things in place. So when people do move down, we make sure that they don't have those experiences, you know, and not just for our financial gain, but because those first 3 months will change your whole concept, your whole mindset of why you even came.
That's right.
You forget. You be like, what did I do?
What happened?
Rhonda will have you rocking in the closet like,
I mean, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
I mean,
trying to figure it out, like, especially when you bring family.
Especially.
I think that to the point that you just mentioned, as far as how the governance. I think if they would look at what we are presenting in a way that it could be beneficial.
yes.
They can say so. They can see it from our side. They can see it from our perspective.
It's near the airport. That's a helicopter. Yeah, that's a helicopter.
Military thing.
From Phnom
We do it around like 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Try
But they-
right, I'm like, what y'all looking for?
if they would, if they can really, I think that they can really learn, some things, because, we're fresh, we're coming with a totally different experience. We're coming with fresh eyes, and, you can they can actually see the impact of whatever they're doing to progress the country, to see how effective it is, or could be, or should be.
Yeah.
So I think that it would be of a benefit to them if they would, and maybe it is. Maybe they do look at it from that perspective. But I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Are they willing to change it? Because I mean, the thing is, it's one thing to hear it,
Right.
but it's another thing to actually want to actually implement it. And I think, I mean, it is important for us to be raw,
Sure.
because
Sure.
people want to know. People want to know those. I mean, listen. I mean, before you move, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he was saying, man, that's just, I mean, you guys making that move is just crazy, because it's like, I mean, who does that?
Right.
Who just ups and leaves everything and just moves
Start fresh.
starts afresh and moves to Africa.
Right.
So, and you have, and we all have, have people who watch our channels who are interested in leaving the States, and you don't want to give them this
A false impression.
Right.
false impression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very, very keen on that. Very, very sensitive to the fact that there needs to be a broad spectrum of information, the good, the bad, and the ugly,
Yes, ma'am.
especially when you're bringing children and you're establishing a family. Because I remember thinking when my husband would show me lots of the videos, I would have questions. because they talk about the cost of living is so inexpensive here. Well, what's your cost of living? Because
Yeah, right.
we might not have the same income.
Right.
My living expenses and my lifestyle are not going to be. So I need more information, like how much. And people don't want to tell all of their business, of course. But if you're telling me that I can come over here and I can make it, I need a foundation and a context for that. So I don't know how much you make or what business you have and how much you've saved and what stocks and investments you might have that allows you to come over here and life to feel inexpensive for you. You know, how many children do you have? If you're not sharing those things so that I can get a good full picture, then how will I know except to come over here and venture it out myself and figure it all out on my own.
Right.
And there's certain hurdles and challenges and barriers that I'm going to experience that I haven't been prepared for because nobody is talking about these things.
Right.
And I want our viewers to hear as much of our experience as possible, with all of the the hills and the valleys and the challenges and the blessings and the benefits, so that when they consider, well, will this work for me, they can say, okay, well, this is how much it costs for them to go grocery shopping for a family of 5, and this is how much they pay for rent and blah, blah, blah. So I could possibly kind of, based on that information, do this as well. Otherwise, there's so many gaps.
It
True.
is. And the
Very
trick
true.
is, okay, yeah, you can find a house here, $300 a month. But when you come in from the States, you are accustomed to a certain way of living.
Yes.
And that's the difference. Like, you weren't going to be able to move me in general from the beautiful life we had in Rwanda to one of the houses that's $300. And you're living underneath the gates. You have no scenery. The windows are dark. You got, it's cold and drafty. No, we can't do that. You know, we don't want to change or lessen your quality of life. You want to be able to find what you're used to or accustomed to, unless you want to change.
Right.
Unless you want
Unless
to.
you're saying, I
Yeah.
wanted to dial back, I want
Right.
to tone down, I want to live a more simple life. Yes,
Yeah.
unless you plan to come and minimalize, then yeah, that's different.
Yeah. So you have to know what kind of life you plan on living before you ask those questions. Because yeah, you can find a house for $300 a month.
That's true. You can do that anywhere.
And you,
But
yeah, keep that in mind.
Right,
What does
right.
$300 a month get you in the States?
Right.
You're gonna get this pretty much, except for the safety aspect will be different. But outside of that, that's what you're gonna find for that price range. And yeah, you can have a grocery bill of $100 a month if you plan to eat fruits and vegetables all day.
And beans and
And
rice.
beans and rice. You can make that happen because the locals do it all the time. But if that's not your diet, that's not your lifestyle, you'll be very upset to know what we gotta spend on food. Because now you still have, we got children here and we have mamas here. They're not gonna change the foods that they used to eat and what kind of stuff they like. So now we're paying more money because we're paying for international costs. Trying to get cheese, and I'm gonna get my cheese.
You gonna get your what? American or your European
Right.
cheese?
No, the European, the German cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
German cheese, is that what she? I will say, what on that point, for us, there were some tweaks and changes that we wanted our children to adapt to. You're not going to have the same snacks. You're not going to have as many snacks. You can live and survive and be okay without the exact same
That's good.
dietary
Yeah,
standards
that's
that you
good.
have
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Because look at what the children around
Right.
here are experiencing. So now, like when I said in the States, there are children in Africa who don't have food, you better eat all the food on your plate. Now you understand what that literally looks like.
That's good.
When children are eating beans and rice every day, you know, because you go to school and that's what you eat at school every day. So now you have your own personal experience and you can say, I'm not starving.
Yeah.
My stomach is not growling. I may not have my pickles. My daughter, Mama, can we get some crispy, crunchy? She said, real pickles.
Listen, next time I see your daughter, give her a high five. You know, like that.
Silverback.
Yes.
Go to Silverback.
Simba, yes, that was
Yeah,
our
got
favorite
sweet
place to
pickles
shop
there. I'm
to.
so happy.
That he likes sweet pickles. I know.
I don't
But
either.
the first couple ones we bought, because they were imported, and I don't know how long they
got-
had not expired, but
Had
they
that
made except for what
softness,
they
no
were
crunch.
soft. And she was like, but you know, it's been 7 months. She's gone without pickles.
Right.
You live,
You can
and
live.
you can live, and you will live.
That's right.
So putting things in perspective as far as what matters most. Now, I mean, you don't want to we don't want to traumatize our children and totally drastically change everything about our lifestyle and how they live, but there are definitely some character building life lessons, and some things that they would have to learn to abstain from or do without that we wanted to throw them into the fire
So,
about.
like
you know.
what? Like what can
That's good. I like that.
some of the character? I'm sorry, I put powder on the feet. Some of the character building lessons that your children have learned. Do you think?
Well, number one, like I said, not having as many snacks
Yeah.
available to them. Just coming in the house right after school, opening the cabinet, and they see their favorite chips
Mm.
or cookies, and we're vegan. So not only do we not have the typical American brands that they're accustomed to, we don't have access here to the alternatives and the vegan substitutes that we had in the States. So that was another adjustment that I had to compensate
So
for.
that's
Like, what
almost
am I going to
taking snacks
create
out
and design?
completely.
Almost, but until we found, because we're always on the hunt for, just read the labels, trying to find things, because we want our children to be able to have some snacks. Like keeps you from staying in the kitchen, and when they come home, they're hungry, or on the Sunday or whatever. But so that's one of them, learning that you don't have to have all of the stuff in your mouth that makes your mouth happy that you used to have and that you want. And then the other thing is being able to eat out often.
Fast food. Where is it?
Yeah.
Does not exist.
It does
Doesn't
not.
exist.
If you're gonna go somewhere, prepare to sit and wait for a long period of time. And if we've got food at home, we're eating that. Okay.
Right.
So don't expect that we're gonna. There are no vegan chicken nuggets at KFC.
Mm-mm.
There is a KFC here,
burgers.
but no Burger King with the Impossible Burger.
Right.
No, you just don't. So you have to detach yourself from that. You're gonna have to be okay. Just going out shopping and my shoe has a brown smudge on it, mommy. And they weren't really like that in the States anyway.
Ours were.
But expecting the entitlement of expecting there's a scuff, or I don't like it anymore. I don't like it.
That's our
No,
children.
you gonna get some new clothes because you can't fit it anymore.
Not because you don't like, not because the style is gone or the trend or whatever. The mix that.
Ours came here and woke up and decided that unicorns was not their thing. I don't want unicorns.
So guys,
My
unicorn
11-year-old
stuff.
told me
But I brought all the
Brand new.
unicorns.
I know, but this is all I brought. What do you mean you're not wearing it?
Just woke up like, no, John, I'm not doing unicorn. The other one, mermaids and butterflies. It would have been fine, but because one of them said that they're too old for unicorn, but the other one is older than that one, so she's too old for mermaids and butterflies now. So everything that we paid and brought when we came no longer is the thing. So y'all just be naked.
Oh my goodness! But yeah,
I think one of the things that our children have grown, that's really been impressive to both of us, is the fact that they've been able to deal with all of the things that we have gone through since we've been here, and they have.
They just take it in stride.
They just take it in stride, and you would think that they would complain and
They didn't have an angry period?
I
think the majority of the angry period took place
school.
before we got here.
Before you
Okay.
came.
Yeah.
Before we came, and
From
then
the other countries.
From
No.
America.
Oh,
Because we
okay.
moved
when they
straight
found out
from
we were coming.
from
Okay.
yeah.
So they weren't
And the
too
packing
happy.
period but even when we were packing, by the time it was time to go, like we're leaving in 2 weeks, it started, get your things in the suitcases and what have you. It was easier for them to leave things behind and give things away. Well, because they thought, when we get there, Daddy said we'll just get more stuff. So
they were
giving away.
They were like, this
Things that they needed to bring. I'm like,
Right.
where are your jeans? You only brought one pair of jeans. Well, yeah, because Daddy said we'd get some more here.
They had a whole plan.
Let's be practical. But they went through their anger, their frustration, their grief, their loss, their mourning of their friendships that they were leaving behind and their family. Really, really hard while we were there. And by the time we got on the plane, they were like, well, we're doing this.
So,
We're on the plane.
accepted.
It's no point in us weeping and gnashing teeth anymore. it's a done deal. So we may as well just move on.
Oh, that's great.
That's great.
That is,
Yeah.
that's really great.
'Cause we didn't have that experience.
No, we didn't. We
Well,
didn't have that. Well, one,
the niece,
Yeah.
she's always
she's adventurous.
she can.
Yeah,
She'll
she's
just whatever the
flexible.
situation is, she's flexible. But my bougie grandbaby, you know, she was like, I'm going with my Jada, but she wasn't happy to be leaving.
Mm-hmm.
She had a whole friend network from school there that we did things for them. We had like the overnights, or overnight sleepover, big going away party with just their friends, and we were hoping that would make it easier, but it made it harder.
Oh.
So when we came here, probably that first 6 months, child was at war with just me. Just it was crying.
You did this to me. You brought
yeah,
me here. I didn't want to be
Jump
here.
frog. And you know, we're still getting adjusted to here. And then on the same note, we hit the ground running trying to open businesses.
Yeah.
So now we're not there as much. They're here. When we first came, they were still on the portal for the school that they were going to back there. So they still could see their friends in school. Not see, but they're on the portal. We're in the middle of COVID. So COVID's still going on. And but that just made it harder for them.
I can understand that.
Yeah, they were angry. Not they, that's the day. She was very angry. Then and you know, in Atlanta, we always have stuff to do for children. Always. And we would have our date nights on Friday nights, but Saturdays was always for them. So coming here, and we came in COVID time, nothing to do,
Right.
and we're trying to open business. So the things we start doing with them was just take a walk.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
what?
That's what we started with. Come on, y'all. Let's walk
We're
around
walking
and
around
see
the
what.
neighborhood.
That's the invention for today.
That was not the thing. They were like, really?
Wow.
Now in Atlanta, we did a lot of parks. We love going to the parks, but when you go to our parks or their parks, they got bike riding. They got just put a blanket out and we could just have fun rolling down hills. Just stuff to do.
There are not a lot large designated green spaces here for.
Which is interesting because it's so
much green.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like
Yes.
the thought. Wait a minute. Let's cut this out for just some leisure, recreational, but it's a concept. These are concepts.
Well, we had a
They're still
conversation
learning.
with someone about that who presented a proposal to the government to designate, like mark off and designate and protect some green space. And they said, well, we could do that, but we don't want loitering and we don't want people just hanging around and then it have to be upkept, and we might need to confiscate it for putting up a government building or, you know, some other kind of structure. So we don't necessarily want to. And in this person's proposal, they talked about the health benefits, the emotional and behavioral
Give the children
benefits of having the
something.
space for the children
And adults.
Yeah,
and elderly as well. And then just the oxygen, protecting the green. You know, when you've got all the fumes from the motos and everything else, you want to have a lot of greenery that's protected and designated and that's nice, you know, not just your agricultural space. So yeah, I found that very interesting too.
That
I was
is
surprised that there weren't a lot of big parks with, you know, play areas.
That's one thing we figured there'll be parks. And the sad part is, it's like, and I know this, we're still evolving here in Rwanda, but for me, it seems like if it's not going to make them some money, then it's not worth the investment. And it would literally take someone to come and buy land and turn it into a park and then give it to the community.
Yeah.
If for you to have a public-private park. And it's sad because when we went to Italy for our anniversary in May. We fell in love with the country. But we're walking around and we just happened to notice this small little alley that goes into a park. And it wasn't like a big giant park. It was in between
A little oasis, perfect space.
apartments. They had dog, and we were like, "Oh, a park!"
We were excited.
We were just in there.
It's crazy. It's like a park.
We're like, come on, we were walking. The park had like you just walked around. It was a little circle. We was like, come on, let's sit on the bench. And we were like,
Yeah.
we were so proud of the little small park
Space.
in Italy, just because we haven't had it in so long. Being here,
I have found some little pockets in my walks, like in Gachuriro, in the area in Vision 2020, the first estate planned by the government, right next to um, Vision City,
Mm-hmm.
they have lots of little pockets of just green area with
Okay.
a few benches, and then
Yeah, there's
a
quite
couple
a
of
few in
them
Ontario. There's
walking.
because that's where we first came,
Uh-huh.
and we first discovered that you didn't have to follow your children as they're walking
Oh,
down the
yeah.
street. So where we
There you
lived in
go.
Ontario, there was a little side street that they
Mhm.
walked to
Mm-hmm.
this playground.
Mm-hmm. We discovered it one day on a walk. I think I know where you're talking about. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was like, playground equipment. That was the first time I had seen
Right.
publicly available
Right.
playground equipment. I've seen benches and grass, but I was like, there's a seesaw
Yeah.
and a swing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
anybody can use. It's not in
Yeah.
somebody's
Yeah.
compound.
We
Like,
was
yay.
so excited. So, but and when we came, let's see, they're 12. The girls were what 10, and they would be like, we were trying to let them go ahead and walk to the park, but we still was behind them, and they kept. Oh man, they just mad. We're trying to give them this space. We're like, no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet. We can't
We
just go.
Yeah.
Now they can. Now they the stores. We used to call them candy ladies growing up.
Uh-huh,
The candy
yes.
ladies right around the corner.
Going to the candy
Going to
lady.
the
Sure
candy-
They're
did.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They'll take off. I'm like, and we don't even look out the
What
window.
around here now that you're in Kigali?
Yeah, they over there, over
Yeah,
there, over there.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
little spots.
I would let our girls walk too.
Yeah, well, I would never do that at home.
Oh, never.
Never in a million
Never.
years.
Never.
And they wouldn't even ask.
Don't
You
even
get
answer
back
the
home.
door. No,
Mhm.
door
No,
ring.
right.
Yes.
Get back. I got it. Don't
Even
answer
at
the door.
dusk, it can be getting dark. Mommy, can we go to the little store and get some snacks? You know, the little Johnny cakes or something like that. Yeah,
Right.
you can go
Yep.
Right.
with no fear, no concern. Not to say that you totally let down your
Right, right,
guard
right.
and
You
you're
gotta
not
keep- yeah.
aware or conscious about
Right.
it, because no place is perfect.
No place.
There are
Exactly.
humans everywhere
Exactly.
who have ill will and are will do things out of what they think is necessity.
Right.
To let me get this child's money because I need to go
Right.
Yeah.
whatever. So we don't want to give the impression that this is euphoria.
Right.
But you don't have to be as on guard
No
here
one's gonna
as
take
you
your
do
child.
there. And I see little, I'm talking 2-3-year-olds
Three.
They're
just
going
walking on
to
the side
school
by themselves, or walking home by
Mercy.
themselves, or going to the store by themselves, or going to get the milk or the water and
Or
the
the
just
water.
Or
ride
nothing.
them
They're
teeny
running
little
down
tiny
with the little
things.
sticks.
Yes,
playing
and the
like,
wheels.
baby, where's your mama?
Yep,
That's
yep.
what I be saying.
And everybody's
At home,
everybody's
chilling.
cool.
Nobody's. Look, if I take your baby, I gotta feed him. Nobody's gonna feed no
Yeah.
extra child.
Yeah.
But you know,
They're not
it's,
taking them.
it's interesting because I think about that, and I think about, and we can relate to this when we were younger, and I think about how I was like, I would be on the other side of town.
Yeah.
Like, I'm clear across the other side of town, and I'm back. And there was no, alarm or anything. Because it was a different time
Yeah.
period,
Yes.
of course.
Yes.
But to be here to see it, on one hand, it's like, because, we're growing with the times and we know how the times are now and what we've experienced. But then on the other side of it, it's like, man, I remember when it was.
I remember when.
And it just kind of becomes a little nostalgic
Mm-hmm.
and it's refreshing.
Straight to
Come on, nephew.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you were saying about your girls and the anger and remembering it. Since we talked about being raw and honest and transparent, my both of my girls have had moments of that, flashes. Like, for example, if they want to go somewhere and we're like, well, we can't go, we can't go today, or no, we can't afford to do that right now, or what have you. Oh, well, I didn't even want to be here anyway.
Oh yeah, we get that.
Why
They should.
I'm here.
You
You all
decided
wanted
to
to be
come
here. Why
here.
can't I go get
Right.
blah blah blah? Oh yeah, we've had some of the.
Wow.
Well, to me, they don't say that to their dad.
Yeah,
But
because
I've
that's
had
because
them.
their daddy is like what I wanted. And I'm sure you guys can relate. When our children were there, they were privileged. I mean, they were privileged. They got to get whatever they wanted to get.
No, they
They
did
got to
whatever
go.
they
I mean, pretty much. I mean, they got to go. Wherever they wanted to go. If they needed something or if they wanted something, for the most part, they got it. And so coming here, I wanted them to be able to really appreciate you know what I'm saying, the things
How
that they
much
have,
they
how much they have, and how privileged they are, and I wanted them to understand that.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think we still have a ways to go for them in that.
I mean, there, to a certain extent,
Because you guys got
there's
a
a
whole
level of
teenager.
maturity. A whole
A
15-year-old.
whole teenager.
Yeah.
We got
She's a
prees.
whole
So you got the
15-year-old
whole
teenager.
I'm curious to know, how does that work? Because we got some stanky girls.
Let me tell you.
12,
Oh,
they stink.
ours can be stank too. I think, I don't know. I have come to learn my children in a different way that I would not have been able to experience them
Right.
in the States, because they have had challenges with school. So we talked about our children go to Path to Success International School, and it's a large school. It's fairly diverse, lots of Rwandese there, and just the academic culture in that school has been one that's difficult for them to adjust to. The level of expectation for them to almost kind of behave like adults and to respect
Robots,
authority
too.
without any understanding of why you're exerting this authority, even if it doesn't make sense. We want our children to be critical thinkers.
Sure. Absolutely.
And there is a why for everything. Why do you do this, or why are we doing it this way? Does it make sense? Is it tradition? Is it culture? Is it,
Right.
whatever? And so we want them to have an understanding of the why behind things. And so if they want to ask their teacher a question, but they don't feel comfortable because that's not the culture, students don't ask teachers questions because it's seen as challenging or questioning the teacher. Even if it's you said our test is going to be on such and such, but you didn't go over this information. And that's what my daughter is thinking. And she'll come home and vent these things and talk to me about it. I'm like, well, why didn't you ask? I need you. They're being paid to educate and inform you and prepare you and provide information. And if they're not giving you what you need to be well equipped to answer the questions on the quiz or to have a full understanding of the information being presented, you need to make them aware of that. You need to raise your hand. She says, oh, no, mommy, it doesn't work like that. She says that all the time. That's not the way they do it at this school. It doesn't work like that here. I have to ask my friends, and I'm like, well, did your friend ask? Like, no, we just figure it out, or we wait and we don't do it right, and then they tell us.
Conversations. Go ahead.
But that's, oh man, when you're saying that,
This is interesting.
because one thing that bothers me so much, I don't know if it's just a Rwandan thing or an African thing, but when the locals go to the doctors here, and I would say, well, what did the doctor say? He said, they gave me this prescription. Okay, but what did the doctor say? Nothing. Well, what's wrong with you?
Did they even ask?
I don't know. They don't ask and they don't tell them. I don't know. They just gave me this prescription. I'll Google the prescription and I'll see you went to the doctors because you had sinus issues and they gave you medicine for ovarian cysts. This is a true story. And it was a guy. You have ovaries? No. That's the stuff that drives me crazy. They don't ask, and the doctors don't feel like they should inform their patients.
I'm the
on what
authority.
they're
I went to
treating.
school. Just take this.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Like,
they
don't
don't.
question.
They
So
don't.
it's embedded
Don't
at a
question.
very young age
Well,
as a
that's-
It
child.
is. It is.
Boy.
Oh yes, it is
is
absolutely.
I've been trying to
embedded.
figure out. I would tell even our employees, they're like, "Why didn't you ask the questions? You don't.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah, in our experience,
You don't just give your body over to somebody and say, "Give me some," and they just give you whatever they want. You don't ask what was wrong, how to keep it from happening again. What did I do? What? They don't ask nothing.
information. Be informed. Yeah,
Hey.
I'm big on get that information. And so therefore, we look like the crazy American parents
I mean,
because
because I'm questioning.
I'm gonna find out.
everything. I mean,
Yes,
it's
yes.
about everything.
So-
If it doesn't make sense,
Right.
Right.
you know, I mean, because we've been to the school
And
on
meetings.
several occasions about different things. I've had conversations through WhatsApp with principals over things that just, okay, I
you're
need
suspending my child because she wanted to read during free time. Because it's free time,
Is
but
it
she
true
wants
story?
to true story.
Are you serious?
She wants to read,
Yeah,
so
I
the
mean-
librarian No, she's supposed to be having free time. She can't read, so you're going to suspend her. We're using that word. Help me understand why that makes sense.
So they were expecting free time to be just go and just run and
you would
whatever,
think free is do what
whatever
you would like.
right, exactly.
They were going to suspend our oldest daughter because she and another girl in her class were doing horseplay. So there, I mean, apparently the director is on a balcony. She's looking over, and she sees my daughter and this other girl playing, and the girl is pushing my daughter towards some boys, and so I mean, you know, and so she's telling me that the director is telling me that, you know, because of that, she's going to be suspended. So I'm like, okay.
And you won't get paid this month.
And you won't get paid this month.
This out.
So I'm like, I need you to help me understand, because maybe I'm not understanding. So she didn't cuss anybody out. She didn't cheat on any tests. She didn't do this, that, and another.
Right.
But you're telling me you're suspending my daughter
because she was
being pushed by somebody else. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying that the other girl should be suspended either.
Right.
Okay? But she's a child. They're doing horseplay, and you're telling me you're suspending her. I need you to help me understand that.
Yeah,
Maybe help me understand.
Right.
So it was. I mean, and it's been other incidences like that.
You bringing my baby back?
Okay.
You see the bag I have for him? There's a bag here for him with the diapers and stuff. You can get it when you come back.
I mean, we try to be culturally sensitive because we understand we chose to be here. Nobody asked us to come.
Sure.
We came into something that's already established, a way of life for years and centuries potentially. And so, yes, we have to be respectful and understanding. But as you said about the videos, some of the critique can be helpful in allowing you to see that maybe how this has been done might not be the most effective or efficient or logical way of doing it from a fresh perspective. And so we try to approach it that way. I know that we try to be respectful in our conversation and communication. And then there are communication barriers, not language barriers. We're both speaking English,
but the understanding is different.
Comprehend it and interpret it may not be how I'm intending it. So trying to navigate that and choose words very carefully, crystal clear and explicitly, and articulate exactly the thought without appearing, because we have interactions with Rwandese all of the time. We attend church here on a regular basis. We have some close friends who have loved and embraced us here. The woman that presented the proposal for the green space is Rwandese. We talk to them all the time, and we have there's one particular couple where the wife of the couple is very she's very intentional about informing us about Rwandan culture and helping us to understand, listen, I get it. I understand. I went to school abroad. I grew up traveling all over the place. Her dad worked for the UN. She said, so I understand from your perspective how things look and what you're seeing, and I came with these same battles trying to understand why is customer service this way, why are we not answering the phone, and why are we letting people break in line. She said, I fought those battles because I grew up away from here, but she's Rwandese. Her family, her parents are Rwandan. She says, so you have to understand, time is elastic. You're just gonna have to woosah, you know. She's like, because otherwise you're gonna be stressed out and frustrated. You know, keep calm and carry on, because that's the way it's gonna be. Now there are gonna be times when you need to tell them, that's not respectful of my time. I have other appointments to make. You know, my husband would be clear when we were looking for homes. I'm going to be on time. I need you to be on time because I have several other things scheduled today, and if you put me late, then I can't make my other appointments, and I'm leaving. I'm not going to stay.
I say this all the time.
You know, so being there's a way to be respectful, like with our videos, but still be honest, and where we can help each other and grow and learn from each other. Again, I know nobody asked us to come. Y'all didn't ask us to be here.
Right.
We're not saying that you need to change everything, because our friend gave me a really good example. She said, it's like going into someone's house that they love and they've tended and they've taken care of, and saying, this chair needs to be over there. You don't need that purple sofa. That doesn't look right. That sink is wrong. That bathroom is wrong. You need to move this over here and just rearrange your whole house. You know, and she's like, you just keep that in mind of how it's approached. And I've tried to always hold on to that when I have interactions while still, you know, culture can change as well.
Exactly.
It has changed a lot with
Yes.
civilizations over
With
the years.
knowledge.
We're not in Babylon
Right.
anymore.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Time
Right.
When you
period.
know better, you do better,
do better.
regardless of the culture,
Yeah.
Chinese
Exactly.
or what have you. And so, if something makes sense to do, that's more practical and more
You
efficient.
gotta hold on to that
let's
word.
try.
Makes sense though.
She said that.
You
I was
gotta
like,
hold that
throwing
on.
it out your vocabulary.
Hold on to that. But
Don't say
even
don't
the
make sense
president
anymore.
has said that, you know, before we came and we're learning the leadership here, he wanted. They said when the Black Americans come, welcome them.
Mhm.
And so,
Do you feel welcome? Okay.
hold on, so
Yeah, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, that's a good
Welcome them.
question.
Uh-huh.
And then lately, I'm hearing he said it's our fault that they're leaving.
Oh wow.
That they're
Okay.
leaving. What was that one? He was saying, talking about expats, period, not just Black Americans,
Okay.
but expats, period.
Mhm.
Will come. Most of them will give it one good year.
Mm.
Some will open a business,
Mhm.
but once that's over and they realize they couldn't make it here, they're gone. And it'd be simple things on why they left. No one will ever say they left because I couldn't take the crime, I couldn't take the racism, I couldn't take the discrimination, I couldn't take. No one's gonna say those things because that doesn't happen. Really.
Right.
What people that we're hearing is they say stuff like, "I'm tired of being taken advantage of. I'm tired of being looked at as a
A
ATM
cash cow
machine."
just because I'm American.
Right. Or I'm tired. For me, I'm tired of having to fight for stuff that makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense to me, but for me, I'm that black and white person. So if 1 + 1 is presented, I already know the answer is 2.
What is there to talk about?
Right.
But here it's like 1 × 3 to the 4th power minus 6, 7, 8, 9. And why did you do that? I don't know. You're like, that
Yeah, why?
don't make
Equals MC
sense.
squared.
Yes.
I just like that don't make sense. So
But these are the things, though. These are very, everything that we're experiencing is very critical in making that decision. And
Yes.
because again, even you can't get this unless you are actually here.
yeah.
Yeah. You don't
can't
know
get-
until you know.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And so the advantage for those who may be considering that we're sharing this, and that now, if or when you do come, now you can kind of, okay, you can weigh the pros and weigh the cons, and make a more well-informed decision on how you're going to do what you're going to do. And with you guys, which even with the name Reclaiming Our Identity is very spot on, because it's like, we're coming because we're trying to reclaim our identity.
They
We're
tried to
trying get
whitewash it.
right,
They tried
you know?
to steal it and
Try
take
to
it away.
Just take it away.
Not having it.
So when we come, we're coming with that, okay, I'm going back home.
Yes.
I'm going in. But now it's like, okay,
Do I feel like I'm home?
do I feel like I'm home?
Yeah.
So now we're still in that continuous journey and search, And you guys, you're here in Rwanda, but you've been on a continent. So you've been in other countries,
And we get a lot of people asking, for some reason, the 2 countries that is on the radar is Ghana and Rwanda. You guys been to Ghana. So for us, we wanted to know, because we considered Ghana as well, but in our research, we were like, no, Ghana's not for our family.
From infrastructure,
Yeah.
and I know you guys can speak to that. You and I kind of,
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges just in Ghana alone, just to make sure our research was correct, for one, but people are asking on our channel, why did y'all choose the East Africa versus being
where
near
we
the
came
sun
from.
and the beach, and everybody assumes that we come from West Africa because of the coastlines, but slave trade happened at so many areas around the globe. They were shipping us, they were transporting us. There's all kinds of, so you can't necessarily say, well, that's where. For me, it's the continent. Period. They created these borders. We were one, so I don't really care like where my DNA says. I have blood here in Nigeria. I have some DNA in Ghana, and from the Fulani tribe. And this is what the research shows for me. I'm like,
Yeah.
none of that excites me. I know I'm from the continent.
Right.
But for you guys, y'all been to Ghana, and I just want to know, like, how was your experience there? Because what we're trying to do now is not just talk about Rwanda. We're talking about is Africa where we should be at? Should we limit ourselves to just say, because that's where our DNA is, that's where we need to go back home to? Will we find our peace? Is this our home now, generations later? You know, so what did you find in Ghana?
So I did my DNA. My DNA has me from Nigeria. But we've never
brother.
West Africa. We've never visited Nigeria.
Right.
And we had no plans of moving to Nigeria.
We considered possibly going. We had my
Yeah.
parents had some very good friends who are Nigerian who lived in Atlanta for years, and they moved back to Nigeria. And the husband is in Parliament or what have you. So I called when we were considering places to come. I called a month to say,
Was this
call her.
before, was this then, or was this before when we were just trying to just visit, not
This was
visit
when
to
we were
move?
just trying to. This was when we were trying to visit to move. And I said, look, well, let's just because your DNA came from there. So let's just call Bola and talk to her and see. And she said, absolutely not. Do not come here.
Right.
This is Ghana.
No, this is
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
This is
She
Nigeria.
said too
Lagos.
corrupt. It's too corrupt. My husband is in government, and he's been trying to fight some things. You know, no, don't come. This is not the place you want to come visit right now. She said, now if you go everywhere else on your list and you know those don't fit, then maybe try. But she said, no,
Don't make it
do
the
not come here.
first. Don't make
Yes,
this.
she said it would be very difficult, very challenging. There's a lot of corruption. So, and I am not saying that this is a Nigerian woman.
Right.
I just want to put that
Dis-
out there.
disclaimer.
Not to be disrespectful.
This is a disclaimer.
This was a first-hand conversation that I had with a very close friend of our family who is Nigerian and moved back to Nigeria and lives there and has for over 12 years now. She started a school. So yeah.
So getting back to the Ghana, so we did visit Ghana. I went there in 2008, visited Kumasi, and then we both went in
2019.
2021.
Oh yeah.
And we were in Accra.
Kenya.
And when it comes to Ghana, Ghana number one is that's where everybody's going. You know,
Right.
so all of us, because I mean, you know, the year of return and everything.
It's popular. It's on
popular.
social media. They're drawing attention.
That's why I honestly thought we were going to be. That's why I felt like, you know, we were going to be. Culturally, it is like, you know, you're in Africa. I mean, it is like, I mean,
It
just,
feels great.
that
The vibe
authentic-
is amazing. Oh, the
Yes.
vibe is amazing in Ghana.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So like, you know, like, I mean, here it's
A little more subdued.
yes.
You have to go to
You know.
certain places to feel it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There,
But
I mean,
there
literally, you
is-
breathe
I
the
mean,
air and you feel
you
like
know you are in
you hear
Africa.
Congo
and,
drums.
and the people are welcoming, because it's like, you know, you're home.
Back, yeah.
You know,
Welcome back.
you are back home.
So you're
You know.
hearing that. Like,
You're
Oh, yes.
hearing that. I mean, welcome.
Yes.
I mean, we've been
Brother,
waiting
you're my
for
brother.
you.
You're
Aquaba?
supposed to be here. This is Aquaba.
Yes.
You're supposed
We've
to
been
be
waiting
here.
for you to come back.
What?
And it's because I think in
But they
their
know
culture,
about
they're-
us, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
they
Yes.
see the slave
Yeah,
castles.
they
and
know
there
about
are
us. So it's
remnants
part of their history.
and relics of the transatlantic
Mhm.
slave
Slave
trade
trade,
right,
right.
there.
Right.
They learn about that as part of their culture as
Right.
well. They know that their cousins were taken away.
Right.
You know, so
Right. Okay.
But the infrastructure
Okay.
you mentioned, and when I say infrastructure, not just the roads, because you'll have some decent roads there, in some of the better areas, but the infrastructure when it comes to like so like they don't have like a central hub like we have a Rambo here, that does not exist there. So if you're trying to find, okay, where do I get my driver's license? Where do I get this? You know, it's kind of really a word of mouth and kind of finding, okay, you got to go here, go down to this place or whatever.
And they're spread out.
They're spread
quite,
out.
quite far apart.
Um,
Driver's license, birth certificates, those different federal and government documents that you might need are not easily. Yeah. So we
just
asked
not
our driver,
organized.
is there a website
Organization.
that'll tell us where we can get these various
That's the
things
part.
if I need?
It's not
And he
organized.
said no. And there might be, and he wasn't aware of it, but we looked and we didn't find one either, just so we could see. But I would say even from the beginning, there were some
trying
challenges
to
just
get
to get
into
into
the country.
country.
So it's not
Securing the
visa on
visa.
arrival. You get your visa before you leave.
At least
And
it
so-
was when
Right,
we went.
when we went.
Really? So you
yes.
come in and everything, but when you're leaving is when you pay for your
No,
visa.
No.
I'm saying
You have
before
to have
you
a visa
Oh,
before
an
you even
e-visa.
come.
Online.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you get your visa right from the States.
Right.
Okay. And so when I was trying to contact the embassy in the States, both of them, I think one is in Texas, one in New York, I think, and I was having trouble, filling out the information online. And when I called, I mean, I'm talking about no matter what time of day, how many times, nobody was answering. Nobody. And I'm talking about just every day. I'm just calling. It was about 2 weeks straight that I'm just calling like every day. I can't, and nothing. Because I couldn't figure out, how,
He wanted to make sure that he appropriately answered the questions on the online application to ensure that the application would be
Everything is
approved and
straight.
received
Right.
without coming back and say,
Yeah.
sir, you omitted this or you didn't answer this
Right.
correctly, because we wanted to go ahead and purchase the tickets.
Sure.
Yeah, and
And so-
we had a window that we needed to travel in during the children's spring break or fall break or something. And so we wanted to go ahead and make sure that the visas were secured. And the
Right.
longer it took him to fill out the application, the longer it was going to take. We didn't know how long it was
This
going
is
to
adding up.
be in their office while they were processing it, and no customer service help whatsoever.
None.
So
None.
your whole family went to Ghana.
No,
No,
just
just the
us
two
two.
of us.
Okay.
Well, we wanted to go.
Oh, while they're on spring break, so they
Yes.
could be with
Family,
family.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had so our experience
It was
going.
fall. It was fall break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our experience going impressed the principal of their school to go to Ghana.
Oh
So
man.
she applied
Yes.
for her visa in April. We left in July.
Don't
She
say it.
still had not only did she not have it, she still had not received a return phone call. She had not spoken with anyone on the phone, and she would tell me, I would check, how are things going? Did you get it yet? Have you heard anything? She said, I've been on the phone for 3 hours, calling every number I can, every so many minutes to see if I can get through, and I have not spoken to a soul about my visa. I don't know where
She
it
was
is in
supposed to go in
process.
June, and I told
So she
her
applied in April
before
because of that.
before she decided to go, before she went,
Mm-hmm.
before she decided to go, I said, listen, I'm just letting you know my experience. We got a video on it. Watch it, okay? It's and she was planning on going. She ended up having to postpone the trip
Yeah. She had
because
to change her ticket, her flight.
and so I mean, she never went because
Because
she never went to.
To this day.
Now, I don't
Well,
know to this day.
she
Well,
may
been
have
here.
since we
okay,
left.
but
She may
yeah.
have
But
since
this
we-
is just
yeah.
waiting for the Ghanaian embassy to approve your visa.
Yeah, or because you're waiting weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You're not getting it in the mail. You're like, okay, what's going on? I haven't heard anything. I'm still anticipating. And you have a small window. If I remember correctly, help me because you did this. It's only valid for a certain period of time, and it
Yes.
needs to be valid during your dates of travel, obviously. So if you're purchasing a ticket or you've already gotten it, you need to receive your visa so that it is valid within, I think it's only valid for 3 weeks
I
or
don't
something,
remember.
the tourist visa or something like that. So you need to get it back at a certain
At a
time
certain
so that
time.
it's that window of travel, it is valid. So, that
Oh,
was,
that's already
that's why she had to
annoying.
postpone her trip and
trip.
change the dates with the airline because she had not yet received it.
So
So
that
we
was
say
challenging.
beyond wait, year of the return. You want us to return, but we can't even
We
get
can't
there
get there.
because nobody from your embassy is answering the phone.
Exactly. Excuse me.
So that was a challenge, and then when we actually got there, so we go to get a we need to go get a SIM card, okay? And so we go the individual that was driving us around takes us to get a SIM card. Come and find out you have to have a Ghana ID to get a SIM card.
How you gonna do that if you're just a tourist?
How you gonna do that if you're not allowed to use your passport?
So you can't go and just use your passport to get a SIM card.
Like you
have
can
to,
in Rwanda.
You have to go to, let's say, this particular place or
Yeah,
whatever
the
to
government.
get a, I guess, a foreign Ghana card. Get one of those, then take that back and go to, the cell company.
Now I think they said maybe you could purchase it, but you could not register it to your phone. They couldn't put the SIM card in and register your phone without the.
No, you couldn't even purchase
You couldn't
it.
even buy it. Okay.
Yeah. So we ended up having to get, and the individual that was driving us around, he didn't have his Ghana card with him.
He
It
had
was
his
something-
driver's license, but he didn't have his Ghana card, so he couldn't get it
So
for
it's
us.
two different things, whatever. And so what they did, and this was something they were just starting to implement, and so he didn't have it with him. He lived an hour and a half away, so our host, our Airbnb host, got the
Card for us. She bought it for us.
yeah, got us.
She left it in the Airbnb.
What about a lot of expats that are here now that came from Ghana?
Mhm.
Their main topic of why they left is because of the corruption. Did you guys see any of that on your journey? Like, what would just totally turn you away? Like, mm-mm.
No, but we heard about it. We heard a lot of times, like our Airbnb host there, shout out to Gabriel Ama, was, he was the bomb. And he invited us, he saw us coming in the Airbnb one evening. And he was like, come on, let's talk. You know what? You guys are interested in moving to the continent. You're thinking about coming to Ghana. Come, let's talk. He introduced us to another expat there. And he told us that, you know, there's certain things that you're not going to get done unless you grease somebody's palm. You know, like purchasing land, starting a business, buying a car, you know, doing it smooth. And they're going to ask for something. And his wife would say, oh, yeah, you'll hear it all the time. Small, small. Just small, small. That's what it says. Small, small. Police officers pull you over in order to let you, even if there's not, they don't find anything wrong. I was going to tell this. They'd be like, you need to. So we were going to Cape Coast. We were going to Elmina Castle. And our driver was pulled over, and we were confused, like, what? My husband said, it's because I'm the one in the car that doesn't look Ghanaian, right? They saw you looking American, so he was like, come on. So he did a full, now he had no real reason to pull him over, but the driver had to get out. He opened the glove compartment, you know, the consoles and all that, let him look. The police officer's looking. He had to open the trunk. Turns out he didn't have a fire extinguisher in his trunk, and you're supposed to have that. And when he got back in the car, he explained to us the situation.
Because he had to get out, and he had to get out and go
talk to him. I think he didn't want us to hear what was going on, even though they were speaking their native tongue, and we wouldn't have understood it anyway. But he kind of pulled him away. Our driver made sure that he walked away a little bit to have this conversation with the police officer. And then when we got back, he said, he asked him, you give me something. You give me something, and he said, I didn't have much, I just gave him what I had. So, you know,
we had that experience in Tanzania. We were trying to just go from Tanzania, and we were in Zanzibar we were in?
Yeah, it was Zanzibar.
And we were just going from one end to another beach. Got stopped twice. Now we're just fresh from the U.S. Right? So the cop come and we're like, hands on deck, we just straight trying
do the American way.
Don't move.
Don't move.
The driver, he's like, okay, no, don't worry. I don't even know why the cop stopped him. All I know is he opened up this little ashtray, slid him something, and we kept going. And it happened twice. With this one journey, what is going on?
You're sweet.
The one journey. Goodness. Okay. So, and we were like, okay, all right. But we've been through even bigger corruption just trying to leave the country from Tanzania to come here. We've experienced some crazy corruption.
So it seems
especially with the COVID situation.
It's like that's the crippling effect that you know, because I keep hearing that, you know, from individuals, you know, who have visited other countries on the continent. You know, it's like, you know, you get to one side, man, it's beautiful, but then they come, you know, with the whole corruption, and so it's like it's one of those. It's like the catch-22. It's like, you know, you hear Rwanda, it's like, man. You know, that's a no-no. That's a zero tolerance there.
Right.
Don't even think about it. You know, which you can appreciate for sure. You really can appreciate that. You know, and then, but then there's that other side, like it's lacking here. So it's like, okay, again. So now, where do we belong? Where are we gonna find our fit?
Right. Where everything could just be smooth, like. Even so, here you don't have that kind of corruption with the cops and all that kind of crazy stuff.
I think I know where you're going.
But there's stuff, in our opinion, your phone something. There's stuff in our opinion where you're like, man, that's corrupt.
Yeah,
that's corrupt.
Why are you trying to overcharge me for my taxi? Why, you know, or
bargain
way too high for a service, or not provide the service properly. You work on the car. don't fix it right.
Ooh, that's a nerve right
You
there.
want
That
to
car's a
charge
nerve.
me to get my car back after you
know.
broke it. That's corruption.
And then,
It is.
and then when I charge
Right.
you more
I
money
mean-
for them to come do it right, do it. I'm like, why do I have to pay for your mistake? Why is that always my sentence every month? Why am I paying for your mistake?
Yeah.
Why I need transport? That's not my problem.
Right.
You did it wrong the first time.
Yes.
Why am I paying for you?
And yeah, and I
Come
feel,
back and fix your
I feel
mess.
violated. I feel taken advantage of. And I remember thinking like last week or a couple weeks ago, like, I just wanna have peace of mind and walk out of a place sometimes or away from a transaction and know that I was treated fairly. Like I don't always feel that way.
Right.
That you have been honest and fair with your pricing. And yes, I know that there are some things that are less expensive. I would have paid more in the States. But be fair with me. Charge me what you would charge someone else just because that's the quality of the work or that's the value of the product or the item. Why can't I just be treated fairly? That I'm drained of
Listen,
that.
this is I'm gonna tell y'all the trick, because here in Rwanda, there's not a particular look. You can't say, "Did you look Rwandan?"
Right, people tell me all the time, you look Rwandan. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they
really?
say I look Rwandan all the time. Like they just come to the car and just start speaking, and I'll be like, he's the only one that stands out because he has
That's a back for
gray,
yours?
and so they
That's
always
like,
think they know he's a foreigner.
Oh.
So now my trick is, okay, I'm going to the store.
What, Rwandese dye their hair or something?
No.
They don't gray? Or what?
I don't know if they're gray.
What-
I don't know
they
what
don't
it
gray.
What's
is.
the story
Well,
on
the
that?
lifespan doesn't even last long enough for the gray, I'm assuming, or the lack of stress. You know, our gray comes
Yeah,
from
lack of
stress.
stress. Yeah, that's
They get plenty of vegetables, so maybe they just don't really gray like that.
Say it again, say it again. Say it again.
I keep
Green
forgetting.
power, green
This
power.
is the hay people.
We don't just eat hay, we so
The hay people. I'm like, girl, what you be eating?
So I guess I'm not gonna get grays.
Right. No grades. So he's the only one that really stands out. So what I do if I go to a market somewhere, you're gonna get meat away.
Oh
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like,
At least you know it and like what they saying and what they
I'm gonna
mean.
pick it up and I'm gonna say, not that.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm getting 2 words.
Yeah, I know. My daughters tell me, "Mommy, don't start with
That's
Kenya
it.
Rwanda because then they think you speak it." Because I'm coming in, I'm a kuru. If
Yeah,
they
yeah,
say
yeah.
I'm a kuru,
I got stuck like that.
what a mood
Yeah,
say,
then-
I'm
now
the
you-
hey, and after that, then they start,
And then they're gonna
responding to
laugh
Kenya.
like-
I'm like, oh, shit.
That's how I got
That's it.
stuck.
I
I
don't
went
know.
into the store. I thought I was like, you know, I'm just like you.
Yeah, I'm trying to be.
I'm looking at something. I'm asking in Kenya Rwanda what the cost is, and they wait and
No,
give me the
he comes
answer.
in like,
Yes.
They
In
gave me the
Kenya
answer.
Rwanda,
And
I'm
Kenya
like,
Rwanda,
wait,
wait, hold on, wait.
but he comes in like,
I only know Bill
Stop.
Simpson. After 150, I don't know.
but he comes in like he is the Rwandan superstar. So it's like, yo, I'm here. How are you? Hey. I'll be like, just forget it. It's out with this bug. Oh my God. I'm just like, just forget it. But if I'm by myself,
Okay. So I'm sorry. Our feed died because my husband's battery died. Is that
Oh,
what
yeah,
you're saying?
I was on your
So we're
last
trying to-
feed. And then I'm like, okay, what's going on?
You guys have a QR code for your Wi-Fi? We won't lie. We'll just
No,
put it on the table. Okay, go ahead. So you were saying even though you cannot have corruption in business. Oh, speaking of which, I was informed. Going back to this car situation. So although there is 0 tolerance for corruption here, even if you go in RDB, there's a number. They say if there is any bribery, any whispers of such and such, blah, 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 call this number. And I saw that, I was like, I love it. That's wonderful. There is a mechanic that he went to, and the taxi driver that picks me up quite often, because when my husband is out commuting, picking up the children, and I have things to do, sometimes I don't want to get on the motor. I'll take the cab. And
You ride the motor?
Oh, I do all the time. All the time.
You are
I love it.
brave soul.
I said, I don't know. It's God's favor, either that or.
yeah, I respect that.
I said maybe they can tell that I'm not Rwandese and they want to be careful with me just because so they don't get that American embassy after them if something happens to me. I don't know, but I have been blessed. I ride it
All the time.
several times a week. Yeah, I got things to do, places to go, people to see, and I don't want to wait for him to get home and
Wow.
he's telling me how much gas costs. I'm like, okay, I'll walk and get a motor. So, my most frequent driver asked me about how the car was doing because we've had to have him pick us up sometimes or pick up the children when the car was in the shop, and he asked me where I took it. So I told him where we took it, and if my husband wants to share that, that's fine. And he said, "Oh my goodness, he is a scammer. He charges so much. He's so expensive." And he said, "Now, did you notice when you go to the supermarket, you get 2 receipts? you get your symbol receipt and you get the government receipt.
Right.
I was like, oh, you know, that's
Yeah.
true. I do get 2 receipts.
Right.
He's like, everywhere you go, you're going to get 2 receipts. One of them has to come from the government, the federal thing,
EBM, yeah.
EBM, and the other one comes from the merchant. He said, do you notice he prints yours out on computer and hands it to you on paper? You don't get an EBM one. You don't get the government one from him. I said, you know what, that's true. He said, that's why he charges what he does, and he can charge what he wants because it's not being reported to the government by giving you the EBM receipt. I said, that is another form as far as I
And you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
you
That's
have-
absolutely right.
The scam comes from the business scamming.
Yeah.
That's what you'll find.
But I wonder though. So I wonder if it's just us.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine.
Go ahead.
I wonder if it's just like us being expats that this is being,
Done to.
No,
done
because
to.
he's Rwandese and he said he overcharged him. He
So he
had
does-
air
okay.
filter put in. The man charged $45 for the air filter part. And then he still had issues. So he took it to his regular mechanic and the mechanic said, oh, you're back, huh? You thought you're so smart going to the big fancy man with the machine, but you're back. It's okay. I'm going to take care of you. Replace the filter, $3.
Whoa. So from 45.
3K. Compared to 45.
Are you
And
serious?
he said, did you recognize the delivery guy for it? And my driver said, yeah, you know what? I did see him around at that other mechanic shop.
So he got
He said he sends him
the regular
to
price.
to the same places to get the parts, or to some places to get used parts, and then he overcharges for them. That's what that guy, that shop owner does. He said, I don't do that to you. He said, so you're not going to go to the big fancy man anymore, are you? He said, no, I sure will not. Because he overcharged for a lot. He showed me he pulled out his glove compartment. He was heated.
ready.
He pulled the car over and said, excuse me, pardon me. I just have to show you this. He opened his glove compartment, my driver did.
He was ready.
That's Omar. I love Omar.
He couldn't wait.
And yeah, he said, look at this. You see how much he charged for the oil, how much he charged for the oil change, how much he charged for the filter, how many. Now look at my other receipt. 75% less
Oh my gosh.
on every itemized item, and then the cost of labor.
You remember in Atlanta, okay, it's this, I forget what news channel it was, but it was this,
Clark Howard.
Clark
Oh,
Howard.
Clark didn't
We
play.
need to
Oh,
do a
he's
Clark
talking
Howard
about
here
it.
in
That's
Rwanda.
right,
Because
that's
he would
right.
go to these businesses.
We need a Clark Howard. He sure would. Listen, you are charging too much. Here's the researchers
That's
who
what we
wouldn't pay
need.
somewhere else.
But you know what?
How to get the best flight?
Exactly.
This is the
Clark
thing, though.
Howard is the man.
Sure.
This is the problem or my issue with Rwanda, because 90% of the time they're not charging their worth to begin with.
Yeah.
We just get accustomed to what they charge, and now we don't want you to charge us over. But we know that they're not charging their worth.
Yeah.
So if the man had just charged you the cost for the parts and then added his worth, the real
The
price for
labor.
labor,
cost.
we wouldn't be having this problem.
Right.
But they try to scam it and add it to the cost of the parts, and you're like, dude, that ain't how much it costs.
No.
I know that's not how much. Charge your worth, and then I can say, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
You
fair.
paid $100
We
and you
can
don't
be
work under
fair.
this hood the whole day.
And then there are
Yeah.
times when they don't charge with the and I'll pay you what. I'm like, you're not charging enough.
Actually,
Yeah.
Right.
This is what.
Mr. Service? Is that the place?
Yes. You want to say it on that thing?
Mr. Service.
Because we listen.
Mr. Service here,
Wait,
here in Rwanda.
is that where?
So, Mr.
You don't
Service.
worry about that too much, but is that where we went? I remember
No,
seeing that name.
no.
I know
No.
you didn't.
We don't have to worry about that because Valeria
Yeah.
takes care of that. But Mr. Service,
I mean, don't,
All
How
right,
much did
Mr.
you pay for
Service, sorry.
for transmission fluid?
man.
$95. Was it?
So,
Tell it.
transmission fluid.
Fluid.
Okay.
hold on. Wait.
So-
the fluid.
The
The
fluid.
fluid. The fluid. Okay.
Not,
So
not
listen,
even the whole bottle.
Listen,
You didn't get
so-
the leftovers put in your car like they do some places. Poured it out and charged.
So listen, so I'm there for something else I can't remember, and they check, they realize I need some transmission fluid, whatever. So, and I'm my American mind.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking, okay, go ahead and put some transmission fluid in there. I'm thinking, okay, transmission
Remember
fluid,
that camera too.
$4, $5, you know what I'm saying, $6. And then they pour it in or whatever. I go to get the bill, and they said $95. I said, hold on. I need to speak to the manager because this ain't right. I think y'all messed something
It's
up.
$12
You have to
at the
remember-
gas station.
You have to
That
ask
is
buy
crazy.
your
before
own
you say, okay.
transmission fluid.
So he said, it's a misprint or something.
Yeah,
It
he
must,
said-
it must be saying 9,500.
$9.
95,000
francs.
95,000 francs because apparently some transmission fluid he gets that he uses is like
Synthetic
Gold,
I mean,
liquid gold.
right.
You should
And
never
it's like-
need transmission fluid ever.
Yeah.
and it's like $30, $30 a
A
quart
liter
or
or
liter or whatever.
The other issue they have here
So
is they don't disclose up front.
Yes, right.
Dude,
That's
why
which is
you
why you
didn't
have to
tell me that
ask.
in the beginning
You
so
have to
I can
ask.
make the informed decision?
Right.
Exactly.
You
You're
gotta
just gonna
ask.
say, I got it. No, you don't have it. How much are you going to charge?
Right.
They just do
I'll
something
do it
and
for
then
you.
want you to pay it.
Yeah, no, like,
Yeah.
we gonna have an agreement before I say, okay,
Mm-mm.
I
Well,
need to know how much
95
it's gonna cost.
for some
First.
man. But you're right though. That is the corruption on a
It's a different level.
Yeah, not a government level,
level,
but business
but-
wise or
Yeah.
person to person or
Transactional.
small, right?
Pe-
Exactly.
People get tired of, okay, so you got to also understand, you got people that's coming over here that been through stuff in the States. So every time they have these stupid little issues, it brings out this form of, I'm talking about myself. It brings out this form of aggression.
therapy. It's therapy.
And
Yeah,
you
yeah,
didn't know, I didn't even
You
know.
talking
Like,
about me and you?
Yeah, right. He was like, cause you right there with it too.
Let me tell you, I'm like, we like side by
I'm
side.
telling you.
We like side by side.
it brings, I'm like, I've never been this aggressive where I just want to like, listen,
Let me snatch you up.
for real. And it just, and at this point, it could be little things
Mm-hmm.
that, it's driving.
Mm-hmm.
This man never had road rage in Atlanta. And you know, they say Atlanta is one of the worst traffic.
That's because
outside
these
of
other
LA.
folks come from other places driving the way they
That's
drive.
true.
It's not because the natives don't
Listen,
know
I
how to
can't
drive.
see that
Excuse me,
conclusion.
we're natives.
We're
Don't,
natives,
we're
but
not
I
natives.
agree to
We're
that.
from
I
the
agree
north.
with
so-
that.
Residential
We're
tourism.
yeah.
But no.
Like he never had that issue.
Mm-hmm.
Here, and I hope they don't come get us. We be doing some Bonnie and Clyde stuff.
Oh,
He
they
done
know it.
he done cut off a bus that was trying to take my right leg off because he's cutting us off.
Oh.
He's like, I'm like, I'm standing on the side like, why is he speeding up? What's
So
going
I had
on?
to tell him.
Why are
I
you
had to
doing
like,
it? What's
listen,
going on?
Look here,
I'm
partner.
looking behind like, what's
Man.
going on? He cuts the
I
bus
had to-
over. This is a public transportation.
Yes.
There's people on it. My window's down. My husband's like, so I'm like, oh, okay, we doing this. We yelling at the bus.
What are you
The
doing?
bus driver, that's how what Rwandans do when you arrest them. The bus driver said, he ain't talking to me.
Oh,
He looked out. He was like, oh. He was like, no. We about to fight the whole bus. The whole bus. Because we're just like done this day.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why would you think
Not another. Why
you should cut? And they'll pass on the right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just at a stop sign or whatever it was. Bus driver like, I don't want to wait for them. And just come and try to pass you from the
Exactly.
right.
Yeah.
You're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I think it's because they know their vehicle is bigger. They think that you will just
No, they
yield.
all drive
They're
like
just
that.
gonna come
No,
on
it's
out
not
big
because
size
you're
of
gonna
vehicle.
move.
Even the
It's whatever.
bicycles do that.
That's
one.
true.
The
Oh,
bicycles,
you're right.
the motos, they
Mhm.
all do it.
Yeah,
And I'm
coming.
like, y'all don't understand. Our response is different from you guys. You guys
Yes.
have to be peaceful people. You're not allowed to fight.
Yeah.
We're coming from a country where if you don't fight, you fight or flight,
That's
period.
it. That's
You
it.
got to just, and I'm like, I'm standing right here. Did you just,
I said, but you know
walk
what?
behind
I
right in
said,
front of me
please
and
make it
Exactly.
make
stuff on the
sense.
right?
Make it make sense.
I'm
because
ready to
I
just
said,
snatch you. Excuse me. Eva.
I said, honey,
You see me?
they must. I said, I wonder if in their school they teach them. You come on out. The
Right.
other person has to yield. I said because it's too commonplace. It's too habitual and consistent all throughout the driving. Everyone does it. So maybe the way we learn how to drive is different. And I mean,
But
back
look
to
at
why.
this, think
Help
of
me to
this.
understand.
Right.
Are they
Right.
teaching
No, watch
the
this.
rules of the road differently?
The way that they drive, that the driving is done here. Think about when you're in a supermarket inside, and you're standing there to pay for your groceries. Do they not just cut in front
the
of
same
you,
thing.
or clog up
Exact
your
same
personal
thing.
space,
Same
thing.
or kind of like if you're trying to pull the money out your purse? Do they not just
Right
start
there.
and trying to tell the
pay,
cashier,
yes,
it's my money?
on Mama for their stuff,
It is.
right while you're trying to get yours.
And then the crazy Americans say, Enva. You see me right here? Can you move? Can you give me my space?
Mm-hmm.
I've had them come into the ATM, the box. And I'm like,
What?
yes. I'm like, what? I'm looking around like, okay, I'm about to have to
You need to wait out there.
take your behind outside. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't help me understand. What?
So those things for us.
The box. Now that's
it's-
a whole nother level. That's new to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Up
about
on you
that.
in the bank. Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that has happened.
I've had to
In the
push.
box?
I'm sitting there with a teller.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to these banks, you kind of sit down at the customer service part first. Don't ask why, I don't know.
Yeah. Who's not just customer service. They actually do a whole lot of other things too. You find out.
But then they don't even know what they're doing.
Ugh.
And then the man comes. This man comes. I'm sitting here. We got my personal business out.
Yeah.
We discussing this business.
And he
He comes out here.
and
First of all,
talks
he's
to
going
the
to stand
individual.
right there over
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
and then start talking about whatever. And I'm like,
Excuse me.
I tell the teller, listen, you have 3 seconds to tell him to wait his turn.
Mm-hmm.
He starts laughing. Don't worry, no worry, not your bosom. And he tell him like, and the guy's like, oh.
Yeah.
the appalled that
Yes.
he's doing it.
Yeah. You're too forward. You're too blunt. That's too aggressive.
That's aggressive. And the thing is, now that you're talking about the schooling, you know, think about when we were in school, we were taught everyone stand in line. They always say,
That's what I
get
told
in
my husband.
line.
We're trained.
Everyone on the right.
Be conscious of your environment. Be
You have
considerate of other people.
Right.
Don't step on toes. Don't bombard people. Don't cut them off. Don't get in the way. That is ingrained in
what
us.
you're taught.
We're taught
from
that way.
little. That must not be what's taught here.
Yeah, it can't be clearly.
Because even when we're in public places like going to Kigali Heights or going up the steps, and this was just yesterday or 2 days ago, we're walking, we're on the right side, and these ladies are coming, so I'm like, I'm not moving, I'm on the right side. He moves for them because
Because he's a gentleman.
he's a gentleman. But in my mind, I'm like, you better move to behind. Why you over here?
Yeah, that happens.
I dare you to think I'm going to move to the left for you.
Yeah.
That's just,
Yeah,
and it's
you
like,
become defiant and indignant.
right. But I came here, I was sweet.
You're not sweet anymore.
But
They
you know,
brought out
No,
see,
yeah.
in Atlanta, I've been working on my Georgia peach
Uh-huh.
for 20 years. I've been working on getting my
I think
peach.
I'm still dripping. I'm still dripping.
I don't have it. So they kept saying I'm a mango. They done brought out my whole mango back out. I lost my leash. I already know it.
That's hilarious.
I think we
Make it go.
oh yeah, I forgot about the helicopter. I think as Black Americans, we have an advantage because we come with a certain level of experience, having lived in the States, but at the same time when we come because we have a genuine, sincere desire to be here and to connect.
Yeah, not to take.
So what we're experiencing, you know, it's like family. Like, you know, we're like, okay, listen, you ain't doing that right, cuz. You know, come on, man.
Yes.
That's how we see our approach to them, but they don't see they don't see it that way.
And if they would though, so that's I guess what I'm leading to. If they could just say, we may not have the dollars, we don't got the big bucks, we can't really invest like that, but we bring something that could probably be even more valuable for your country. And this is whatever country on the continent.
Right.
That's more valuable for your country in the long term, in the long run. Relations with one another and being able to, because what good is it to be able to build the country with the, beautiful buildings and to progress, but the people and the mindsets of the people and the relations of the people is the same. Then before you know it, it's gonna tear down, or it's not gonna last.
It's going to go back to what you were saying, that the president was saying, that we're going to come and lead. Because you're going to come and you're going to see how beautiful and nice things are or whatever, but then when you get down to the nitty gritty, it's like, man, I don't know if I can deal with this because, some of this stuff that I think is common sense ain't
too common.
I tell them all the time, and this is mean, I shouldn't even say it. I'm like, common sense doesn't live here. It doesn't. So we were trying to figure out is common sense something that's taught? Did we learn this? Did our parents teach us?
I had to explain that to my husband too, because I mean, of course, coming from our culture and our context, we think, well, logically, this should be like, that's common sense. But it occurred to me one day, I said, common in our context is what is common and familiar to us. They have common sense per their context and their culture and their environment. So it's common for them to come up to the grocery store, check out, and get in front of each other. It's common for them to get up close when they're on a bank. That's common.
It's common,
common
but
sense.
if you ask
get to
them
me
why
when you
did
get to
you
me,
do
or you
this,
can multitask.
they'll say, I don't
The
know.
teller can
That's
multitask.
because
That's
it's
what they
common.
do.
Because the thing is,
It is
nobody
their common
says
sense.
anything.
It's what's common to them.
Nobody
I
says
never thought of it
anything.
like
I think that's the
Because
issue.
it's common. It's culturally accepted. It's a part of their way of life, and so that's why they don't challenge it. Back to being in school. It's the way that it is, and especially as far as authority is concerned. If authority has said it and established it this way, I'm still waiting for my foreign equivalency. I applied for it in October. Okay, several different documents were requested. I provided everything. Then I go in person a couple
what
of
that
times.
is for people like me. That's like,
Okay.
she's speaking Spanish. What is
Okay.
she talking about?
So
Speak Greek,
my
yeah.
profession, I'm a doctor of physical therapy.
Oh,
and-
yeah, I was like,
Yeah, I have my doctorate in physical therapy. And when we came, we said we were gonna get remote online jobs so that we can explore the continent, take our children around, be adventurers like you guys, and not be tied down to a 9 to 5. You know, I've done that I practiced for 20 years, going to a clinic, going to a nursing home, going to a hospital, just the rat race all the time. And I wanted to come, but we had this vision of how life would be here, a lot more calm and settled, and I am more calm and settled. But after we did not acquire any residual income, passive income, online jobs, I said, okay, I need to get back into physical therapy. I need to do that. So I was blessed to meet a couple of different people in the rehab space and offered a job, offered a contract to work at a physical therapy clinic that's new and up and coming, incredible. Integrity Health Group is the name of it. So the owner and I have a contract to work for him, but in order for me to work and practice legally, just like in the States, you have to have a license to practice physical therapy, nursing, or whatever, right? And in order for me, my American license is registered here, but I need a Rwandan license in order to charge for my service legally. In order to get the Rwandan license for physical therapy, I have to apply for it, and one of the documents needed in the application process is for them to equate my level of education, so an equivalency for my foreign education, because I was not educated here. Now, I have my doctorate. Rwanda does not have a doctorate program in any of their universities here. The doctors here have studied abroad in Belgium or wherever. They do have a master's program. It's brand spanking new. They haven't even graduated their first class yet. It's a 2-year program. They graduate their first class, I think, in May. I have a master's, so they have to equate what they have. And so that has presented, I guess, some confusion in the Higher Education Council office. Because I still have not received my certificate, which I need to get my license in order to.
It's just sitting there.
So when I went in person, because I've learned that a lot of things need to happen in person here. And the people will tell you, it's much better if you sit down and talk to
Just go.
Well, why you got an online application? You got an
would you
email
have
address, and you have you need an office phone. They don't need an office phone to make things more efficient.
Just go.
Print out my documents, create a file for me with my name and all my documentations in it. Put it on the next person's desk, let them go through it, make sure that everything is notarized and authentic and verified, and that I have all of the degrees that I need to have and my transcripts are in place, and then approve it. We would think that that's the way it would work.
Right.
So since I hadn't heard back, and I'm checking and I'm emailing and I'm not getting responses, I said, okay, I'm gonna go in person, which is inconvenient for me. We have one family car, and I don't drive here because we talked about the way that they drive. My husband's very concerned about that, so I don't drive, which means I can't go unless I get a motor or a cab. So I got to spend money to go down. Anyway, that's a whole. I'm venting. I'm so sorry.
It's
everybody.
therapy.
So yeah. So I take the time to go to the
This is my
office.
twin.
He's so funny.
This is what I
Cut
tell
it,
him.
cut
Like,
it, cut it. I'm very detailed.
Me too. You gotta get
Paint
all
the
that.
whole picture. I don't want my canvas to be well painted.
are you a Virgo too?
So no, I'm not. So I went to the office, right? He tapped. I showed him my application number. He's tapping, tap. I said, this guy is pulling out my application for the very first time. Watch
It's just
this thing.
sitting there.
Watch him print this stuff out. This is what I'm saying to myself.
Yeah.
He hits a button and he gets up. And he's going to a printer to get my stuff, and he's printing it for the first time. This is the first time they're looking at it, y'all. I'm telling myself, which was the case.
Yeah.
After months.
We already
So
know.
I still don't have it, and
Oh my
I don't
goodness.
even remember why I started even talking about the foreign equivalency thing.
She actually, because she was. See?
Well, she asked me to explain what it
That's
was.
what you get. You wanted to know.
Yeah. Which I
No,
mean, I think
but-
it needs to be said.
Yeah, I didn't know what
Because
that was.
those are some of
the
hiccups
story.
and hurdles
Yeah.
why people end up leaving as well.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
things are not done efficiently.
Efficiency.
I mean, create a good online document requesting all of the stuff that you actually need. When it is uploaded and received, you process it, you print it out, you look through it, you verify it, and then you stamp it and give the person the thing and move
Let 'em
on.
go.
But you-
Several people have told me they gave up and they no longer, they never received their equivalents,
Wow.
and they just went on working somewhere else without it.
And
Jeez.
see, people have come that we know of, and watching YouTube videos, this was never addressed because you won't know unless you're trying to do this thing.
Correct.
So they're thinking, they hear, oh, it's so easy to establish a business license. 6 hours, you can have your business license and open up shop.
Mm-hmm.
Rwanda doesn't recognize work from home. They don't recognize that you
Oh,
have
as a business?
right.
Okay.
So you're trying to register your business like
they
so
have to go somewhere
it has to
physical-
have
to see
yeah.
and it can't be your home.
Oh.
And
A
then
person from the government
come-
has
right.
to come and
It-
look
it-
at
right,
your
Okay,
you're
okay,
trying to
okay.
register your business
Okay.
as
Yeah.
a work from home business, but you're selling products or you're offering
services.
a service, but you want to register it in Rwanda so people will come. They don't.
Mm.
They don't try to have your own little practice in your house. No,
Oh.
they don't recognize that.
Okay.
So then when you're coming in your calculation, you don't have overhead as a charge.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you're trying to do it and you go do it brick and mortar, they have to see if they even want you to do it.
You have to come.
They have to see like, no, that's not something we need. They would say if it's not a need, if they don't see the value in it, or
There's
it's
a
not,
plan.
they cancel you out. And 2 people have been canceled out from, and these are all in the medical field.
Mm.
It's like a social worker and a psychiatrist, maybe. No, she wasn't a psychiatrist. Social worker and social something. But no, we don't need that.
That's so good to know because all we ever heard was it's easy to start a business in Rwanda.
Yeah,
You can
it's
start a
easy to
business in
apply.
Yeah,
It's easy
yeah.
to apply. You don't even have to
Doesn't mean
be
it's gonna
in
happen.
Rwanda to apply. That's easy. To a business license is separate from a business visa, and no one talks about that part.
Mm-hmm.
Business license, yeah, you can apply. I want to do an ant farm. You can do that on the doggone, and they'll approve it. Sure, if you're gonna pay your $150, get that license.
Oh, you paid your
You pay your
$150.
$150, but now come over here and try to get a business visa for your ant farm. Now we gotta figure. We don't need that. What do you
Mercy.
mean?
Wow.
Yeah, it's not.
But it was on my license. You said you gave me the
You
license.
said yes.
You said yes
No,
to
that
that.
means you got permission to try.
Oh wow.
You know, so that's crazy. So we got your name might be registered, and the other thing you got to understand is you can register your business. We know this from experience, but if you don't have your business set up yet, you got to set your brick and mortar up. If you don't have it, regardless of whatever happens, you haven't made a dime. In 90 days, you're going to get that tax. It's time to come to clear your taxes. No one mentions that. But wait a minute, I didn't make no money. We ain't even opened the doors yet. We're not even set up. You need to come declare your taxes. Bring that proof. Because that's why it's okay to register your business, because from the very day it's approved, in 90 days, we need to see how much you're going to pay us.
Wow.
What do you owe? And I mean, and to be fair, you can have your, you're going to go ahead and submit whatever you made and put your deductions. They do take that accountability, but what you don't also understand, we didn't know. In the States, you just turn in all your receipts, right? Regardless, this is what I paid. This, you do your mileage, you do your gas, you just
Any
hand all of that in.
expenses.
And you ain't got to turn in receipts, just do your spreadsheet,
Yeah.
all your deductibles. This is everything that I'm submitting against my what I made. Here, if you did not use the EBM, it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
So
oh boy, what's his name, Mr. Service?
Mr.
So,
Service.
yeah,
Oh,
it
boy.
doesn't count. So if you had a business and you
Yes,
wanted
he
to
not filing
charge,
taxes in Rwanda.
okay, we'll talk about that.
Mm.
But if you had a business and you wanted to charge your car and transportation and gas to the business, you need that receipt to show you paid that $95 for that transmission oil, or it doesn't count. Doesn't matter. So even in that 90 days when you're trying to build up your brick and mortar, you using Pookie and them for your contractors, they don't have EBMs. So all that money you spent on and I'm keeping all my receipts, everybody's signing everything. No, you didn't use EBM. It didn't charge for the Rwandan tax, so that does not count as a deductible.
Right.
And so your people coming over here thinking it's easy to get it's easy to get that license. Now, the tricks and trade of how to keep your business and how to establish it and to even get it approved, that ain't easy. And that don't take 6 hours. That's a big process, but you don't know it until you're actually trying.
You're in it, right?
Right, and it's totally different than the States. In the States, I'm applying for my business license.
Yeah. Boom,
I'm
boom,
gonna get
boom.
it.
There's process. And I think that's why I started talking about the equivalency. Everything you just spoke to about when we mentioned common sense and how things, kind of going in a logical sequence and there being oversight and authority. If authority has not established something here, and you challenge how it's done or you question, well, can I do it this way? Well, if it's not already set up that way and authority has not established it that way, then it doesn't make sense. It's not easy for them to pivot.
Right.
And that's something that we have definitely learned here. You are to go back to you at your question about your viewers, wanting to give them an idea of being open-minded to moving anywhere on the continent and coming to the continent, choosing a country. I think it just goes back to doing your research, finding out what fits for you and your family and what your family's needs are, whether you're retiring, whether you have complex medical conditions, the number or ages of your children, if you want to start a business, or if you're just coming to live to get out of the U.S. or what have you, and if possible, visiting, because before we even decided to come or thought about coming, we said when we take trips, because I wanted one of our anniversary trips to be Greece. I wanted to go to Mykonos Islands and Santorini. I want to do the Mediterranean coast and Athens and Rome. I would love, because the pictures are beautiful. I want to go to the Amalfi Coast. I want to go to Galapagos. But then we were like, well, ain't no black people over there.
I don't care.
We want to. I know. I want to go see the scenery too.
I need a break.
I want to go to. So we said we had never ventured to the continent. So just
together.
Yeah, and you only went because of school. I mean, for personal interest. And so putting it out there, because this is something that we encourage our viewers, consider it at least for travel and vacation, and you guys can contact these individuals for that, to at least expose yourself and start thinking about being open to getting on the continent and seeing what it's like, and then that will potentially unlock some doors.
Sure.
And your mindset as far as, could I see myself living here? Because like we said so many times already, you're not going to get everything you need to know from watching the videos.
It's not going to happen.
You're not going to find everything you need on the internet or in the videos. You got to experience it.
I had a notebook way thicker than this, and I was just taking notes from the YouTubers that touched this continent or touched Rwanda, period. I had a whole Bible of stuff. But when you come and live here, I could throw that book away. Because none of the situations, it's different. It's different when you're watching YouTubers that are only YouTubers. That's their livelihood.
Oh, yeah, right.
So they're making money off of showing you what's beautiful.
Right.
And then they can move on. But their livelihood is YouTube. We weren't at that level. We're still not at that level yet.
We aren't either.
So
we ain't on that level.
For us,
we're not, hey.
Help us
not,
get there.
help us.
Help us.
Help us get there. Subscribe and share. Subscribe, like, and share.
That's right. That's
Help
right.
us.
Help us. We want to get monetized.
that's what we want
Trying
to do.
help y'all.
Oh, y'all close. I see you now. 1.1.
But we still have to have a number of hours of
You watch hours.
Watch
yes.
hours.
Turn us on.
And even with that, people will think, okay, y'all monetize. No, it's extremely hard to get your first check, and the check is gas money.
YouTube ain't there.
It's very hard.
We don't even know.
You
Yeah,
gonna
I'll
work
take
hard.
some gas money.
It's gas money. And look, the last time we got our little small check, we were I was like, oh, we could go food shopping.
Yes. See,
We went-
a little bit of something is something.
Good life, here we come.
Good life, here
I
we
was
go.
all proud. We had salmon that day.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Thank you so
Bring
much.
that first YouTube check, honey. That's
Thank you guys.
Let's eat the salmon.
Yeah,
Salmon is $40-something. Let's get it. I'm so excited. Thank you, YouTube. But it's very, and most people don't start making money on their channel till they've been active for 2+ more years.
Yeah.
Because of the watch hours, so we still struggling. So, but other YouTubers that's been doing this thing for a minute, it frees them up to be able to travel, and that's our goal.
Yeah,
We never want it to just be stuck.
Yeah.
And that's when you stuck, that's when you really hate where you stuck at, where you start hating
Yes.
where you are like, dude,
Frustrations compound.
man. But when you figure it out, like, okay, until then I can do this and I can do that, and we can do a little bit. See, Rwanda's good for those small trips because it's so inexpensive. No, even we went to Europe for the same price that we paid to go to, almost the same price we paid for Zanzibar. Not too much different.
Yeah, somebody told us that.
Yeah, it's amazing. So the being able to fly out of, and then once that airport is done, the Qatar, the new airport is done, flights are going to be even more
Accessible.
because certain places you can't. Like you can go to where we want to go in South Africa, but you have to go to Johannesburg, and from there you can go to
Cape Town?
no,
not Cape
Mer-
Town.
no, Namibia.
Wonderful.
It's Namibia. You can't just fly to Namibia from here.
You
You have to go to Johannesburg and then take a smaller flight to go to Namibia. But once you have more of international flights coming, we can go direct. And then I'm also hearing like with Rwanda Air, they're going to be having direct flights to New York. So you're paying for here. You're paying for airport taxes at different layovers, plus the mileage for that. No, you're going to have direct flights to go to the U.S. So that should cut down the cost a lot.
Yeah.
Because round trip right now you're at least $1,200.
Oh yeah, with all of the. I think Ghana has direct flights to the U.S. Somebody told
Yeah,
me.
you can fly to
Yeah,
Ghana.
that's because
New York.
it's on the west.
Yeah.
Yeah,
West Coast
West
to
Coast,
East
yeah.
Coast. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah, you got that.
Okay.
That's a fact, and it's not so far as far as like even from here to Ghana.
Right.
Well, we're seeing cheap, even not too bad prices from here to Nigeria round trip. It's like 500.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. When we did it from the U.S. to Nigeria round trip, it's like 1,400. So it's a big. You get to go different places for the low.
India,
But it's still
Dubai.
expensive though, because somebody was telling us like compared to, I mean, for us to fly from here to, to Tanzania, in these different places on the continent, is still expensive.
When you consider how close they are in proximity
Exactly.
to each other.
Okay, so take the bus then. We have someone taking the bus from here to Kenya. $28. Like you go to another, and she already on a moto, so you might as well go ahead and get on the bus.
Yeah, but
I
you
can
know how
do
that.
Get on the
I
bus.
don't know, but I
Hey.
can't swing with the bus.
Well, okay.
If you've
take the
ever
deluxe
driven
bus from
a road on a Greyhound
Greyhound.
before,
I
and
used
you
to
know
be
that
on the
wasn't
that
Greyhound.
ain't even right. Exactly.
that wasn't the pleasant
No,
trip.
No, I did.
And
What's the
trying to
other
do
one? The
it-
double decker one that they came out
Oh,
with.
the new one that lasted like 2 years.
It's still.
No, that's the one.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
They got TVs on the bus now. And
I know what you're talking about. I forget the name of that.
all
bus.
Yes,
the time
yes.
from Chattanooga.
Yeah, because it
Somebody
went
help us.
right.
It was
You
blue.
go to the Civic Center. Did you go to? Well, I don't know where you went and did it, but I know in Atlanta, the Civic Center station
Was a stop.
was a stop.
Yes.
Because we used to see them lined up all the time.
Yes.
And we see the bus.
They're
What's the name of
low
that
cost.
Maybe because COVID hit.
bus
'cause I was like,
transport.
that bus didn't last.
Cause
No,
I
you
looked, it
did.
did. Cause I looked not too long ago to my niece wanted to go somewhere, and I was like, "Girl, let me see if I can find you." I can't remember the name of that company.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was great.
Okay,
So
so
we need-
you can do that. So they you can take the VIP deluxe bus to Kenya, $40.
Wow.
Yep.
How long does it take?
16 hours.
Yeesh.
And it
With-
stops
with
every
children,
2 hours.
That's tough.
Like,
Um,
it
Oh,
takes
it
a
stops
total
every
of
2
16
hours?
hours?
Yeah.
With the 2 hour stop?
It stops every
That's
2
not
hours.
That's not bad at all.
Mm-mm. And there's enough, because you know, in April, most expats, they're getting out of here. So we have another expat, they're going to Tanzania on the bus. I think she said it was $22 to go to Dar es Salaam.
What's the name of the bus?
They're all at that port, so you don't have to be stuck here. You can take a bus for the Lolo. For your whole family, about $120 one bus. And it's a bus trip.
No,
So-
man, the
I'm
bus.
saying,
Gotta get in line.
you said, what's the name of the, I mean, where do you,
It's
I mean,
I'll show you when we get off this
Okay.
thing.
yeah.
As that's what I do. I just see her, they do how to get out.
But yeah, our friend was telling us,
good.
because there's no low cost carrier, you don't have a Spirit of Frontier.
No, you have none of that.
That traveling intercontinentally is not as inexpensive as people would think, because we had these beautiful pipe dreams of being able to, hop around the
We'll
continent.
gallivant all
That's
over the
that.
Yeah, it's gonna be
That
so
was
much
us too,
cheaper because we'll be
exactly,
there already.
exactly.
But it's not the case because like you said,
costs.
and a lot of the countries don't have their own airports
Right.
yet.
Right, but imagine, like, you can go get a new stamp, $18. So even and I'm
Stamp for what?
passport. That's what I live for.
Collecting
And,
stamps.
that's the
Stamp collecting.
conversation I love about
There
the
we go.
children. When we were in the U.S., conversations was, oh, I got to get the new this and that and blah blah blah. So now that we're here, the
You
girl
collecting
says, I want a new, Jada, we need a new passport stamp.
Come on,
That's
that's what
right.
I'm talking about.
That's
That's
what I'm
right.
proud of.
Yeah.
That changes your whole mindset.
Yes.
You know, good child talking about a passport stamp.
Global perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Right.
another
We're
reason why
doing
we wanted to
something.
bring our children here.
Right.
Because we're world schooling our
There you
children.
go.
Right.
Right.
Like that.
So
World school.
the cost of
World.
what you would try to pay for a coach first, you could go to another country and
Yes.
for life.
Value.
Yeah,
That's,
something that's gonna stick with them for life. For life.
yes.
So
to really
deep.
shape them.
Man, there's so much. If you take let's say you took the bus to Kenya for $28 from Nairobi, you can take the train from Nairobi to Mombasa, which goes over, you see in safaris and all kinds of amazing stuff.
On the way, on
for
the train.
$20.
And you don't even have to pay for the safari.
Man, you don't gotta
Get
pay
it
for
naturally.
Get
And
it
it's
naturally.
like, man, that's an amazing. So I can't wait until they do this East African connection with the train. So
That's right.
hey, mama. So you're going from you can go all the way to Mozambique on the man. I can't wait for that. That's the stuff that I'm
We
here
know the
for.
right people.
Ah,
Look, look,
that's
let me
what
get
we
my
do.
notebook
We
out.
residential
And
tourists.
make a list.
We ready. We like. Okay, that's different, but that's all we want to do. That was our goal.
Yeah.
So, but when you get to those feelings of being stuck, then you're like, what did we do? This is not.
I think it's great to have a home base, though. I mean, because we
want this to be our base.
yeah, and not where we came from.
Right.
We'll hop from here because the peace of mind and the climate, the weather,
The
just so much
security.
nice. Yeah.
It's
There's
safe.
so many positives,
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
but also the negatives.
Negative.
Yeah.
And that's the part that's like,
There's good and bad.
it's good and bad,
In
and that's
any
what it
place,
is.
any
Yeah,
place you're at,
place.
it's gonna be good and bad.
You just have to know what those goods and those
Right.
bads are and what you can tolerate.
Exactly.
What are your
Right, that's the-
non-negotiables
That's the
for
thing.
you?
How much can you tolerate?
Yeah, because there's some people who want to move out into the bush. They want to be in the
That's
rural
true.
areas of
I'm a
Africa.
farmer. I just
They
wanna
want to
be
be
on a
off the
farm.
grid. They don't mind,
Right.
all the dirt and the dirt roads and
The red clay and
no indoor plumbing. And hey, do your thing.
Yeah, that
it's
works
there
for
for
you,
you.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
There's a wide spectrum, but what I'm hearing is our common goal is to let people know the full scope, as far as our experience
Right,
is concerned,
exactly.
of what Africa has to offer, or Rwanda and the areas that we have been
Right.
have to offer, so that the information is out there and people can make a fully informed decision.
You
Indeed.
just have to know that you have options.
That's right.
that's
You
our
know,
whole thing. You got
you have options. You don't have to stay in the States. And like I said, no place is going to be perfect. No place is going to be perfect. You just got to weigh, am I willing? And even though we talk about, we say these negative things about Rwanda, it's like, would we rather be here than in the States?
Right, because clearly that's a
Wondering
no-brainer.
if you make it home
It's
in the States.
That's
You
a
might not make it
no-brainer.
home in the
Right.
States.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
we have challenges. You know, we've mentioned on our videos, and you guys mentioned as well.
Sure.
But it's like, you know, you just gotta weigh those challenges. What am I willing to deal with?
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
And
Exactly.
I don't want to get shot in the back.
I don't want to get shot in the back.
I want my son to be able to ride his bicycle
Right.
without me having to
Exactly.
watch him like a hawk.
Yeah, or
Exactly.
worrying about if the girl's gonna be stolen for sex trafficking or
Yes.
their organs. Remember that one period they were stealing their organs? It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
So just a real quick question though. So in this journey of coming to the motherland, to the continent, have you reclaimed your identity? Do you feel like you've established the goal? Like, do you feel like, okay,
That
this
is
is
a really
That's
good
an
That's a
question.
good question.
My initial, without giving it a whole lot of thought, would be not yet.
right.
Because there are times when I'm faced with, and I've mentioned this on our channel, when we went to Zanzibar, and we were not the only ones we saw there. I still grapple with, I just wanted to come home, have a sense of belonging, be with my people, and not be reminded of what I've left behind, not be reminded of what was stolen and taken from us.
Right.
And I feel like for me personally, once I have fully reclaimed my identity, that probably wouldn't bother me quite as much. I still am triggered by
I got it.
the robbery
Right.
and the brutality and the lies that they told us, and the fact that we were taken away. That still triggers me quite a bit. So I know I'm in my full completeness of who I am and where I feel like I should belong. But I think if I rested completely in that, I would just dust it off and be like, well, this is mine. I'm walking on what God ordained for me. You are foreign. You don't belong here, and that shouldn't even faze me at all. So I would say, you know, in knowledge, yes, but emotionally and psychologically, still a little post-traumatic slave syndrome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that.
So I would say I would tend to agree with her just a little bit. I have reclaimed my identity.
Okay.
For me, it wasn't necessarily the physical aspect. It was more the mental, because so I started a channel reclaiming my identity. And so after I wrote my book, that's what it was. I mean, my website and everything was reclaiming my identity. And so when we decided to start our channel, we said reclaiming our identity. So when I came up with reclaiming my identity, it was all about understanding, you know, who I am,
Yes, sir.
you know, personally.
Yes,
And
sir.
so I believe that, you know, I feel like I have reclaimed my identity because
Taken that back.
I've taken that
No.
back. I know who I am, and no longer can they, you know, tell me, brainwash me
Right.
about who they want to tell me that I am.
And we're
Right.
able to write that story for our children.
Right.
We've reclaimed it, and they are in full awareness of who they truly are and what their origins are and their ancestry and I mean, down to the DNA
Sure.
of who they are and what God originally intended for our people. And the stories that are told about us are incomplete and largely untrue. So for our children, I feel like we've reclaimed it for them because they're growing up in a different knowledge and awareness
Sure.
than
Oh,
we
I
did.
mean, yes,
Exactly.
our children
They are
are
woke.
woke.
Whoa.
They are woke. So I would just give a plug. I wrote a book, Identity Theft: Uncovering the Truth About Black History in the Bible. And so
Man.
that's what you know.
The catalyst.
That was the catalyst for us coming here and me being woke and everything. And so my daughter, I had my oldest daughter read the book, and so
when
my
she
youngest
was 13 at the time.
and so my youngest daughter is reading it now.
She's
So
11.
where can they get it?
You can get it on Amazon.
Amazon.
Amazon. So, you know, wherever books are sold.
Okay.
But you can go on Amazon. And so, but that is talking about, you know, our children being woke and reclaiming their identity because we want them to know, you know, who they are. And I don't know, what we were talking about something recently. And I think Kaya mentioned, and also when we were in the States, they did they went to all black school, you know, and so they were. I mean, they had to do. I think it was last year when they did the Black History when she was in the
Oh yes, no, she was. My oldest was in an oratorical contest.
oratorical contest.
Okay.
Yes.
And she.
And her
She rocked.
speech. I
Oh
mean,
my goodness.
I mean, so
People told us. There were people that told me I learned so much from her speech.
Wow.
Historically, that I had never heard before.
What?
Things that I never knew that we talk about in our house all the time.
Wow.
Or they came from his book, or we did some research when we were writing it, and there were things that she didn't know until she wrote it. But yeah, she's very well informed.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, man. I guess that's a good note right there. We can just close it out. Man, thank you guys, man.
thank you for having us.
Man,
Thank
we
you for
appreciate
having
y'all.
Thank you
us.
so much for the invitation.
The energy, the knowledge, the love, all of that, man. We love being around y'all.
We
man.
love being around you all too.
Same
Love
here.
it. We
Same
do.
here.
It's
Appreciate
always good vibes.
So look, reclaiming our identity.
Residential tourists.
Yes.
YouTube, just go ahead, plug in, and check us out, man.
Yeah.
Check us out. Subscribe,
Yes.
like,
Share.
share.
And watch it over and over and over again so you will increase our view.
And watch it all the way through. I know
Watch-
it's
that's
long.
it.
Yeah,
Watch
that's
it
the
all the
part.
way through.
Watch it on. I mean, you
That'll
can take
get
a
the
break.
rush hours
You can
up.
take a break. Just come
Just
back.
push pause.
Pause. Just come back.
Because you
Just
don't know
watch
what you're
it.
going to miss.
That's
Yes.
right.
If you're
very
hearing
true.
this right now, that
You
means
already
you watched it
watched
all the
it
way
all
through.
Yeah.
But for the next one,
Tell everybody else to watch all.
That's the part. Tell a
Yeah.
friend to tell a friend to tell a
Yes.
friend. And check us out, right?
yeah.
So thank you guys so much. Peace and blessings.